something a little different today. Most of you know that my mom is actually my camera person as well as my best friend. We're going downtown and we're gonna get matching tattoos. My dad doesn't know yet, so surprise! We got a couple new cameras, so we're gonna try something different and interview the artist, and we'll see how it goes.
Take a look in the mirror, make sure we're good.
I love it.
So that's you taking a look in the mirror?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as I can see it.
Hey, rock and roll. Some people like to actually do the whole stand up, take a look in the mirror, tester kind of viewy goodness.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you're gonna be wearing it for a day or two. It never hurts to be sure. Just saying.
Just a day or two.
It's your call, man.
So I know that drawing's always been a part of who you are, but it wasn't actually in your career path, was it?
Not even close.
So how's that all come about?
I spent a bunch of years training to become an underwater welder.
Yeah.
So I originally came out west in a 73 Volkswagen van.
Cool.
Lived in that for 7 months. Was supposed to go back to Ontario, to Seneca College, to do the underwater skills program.
You're from Peterborough, right?
Originally, yeah.
Okay.
Born and raised. Basically, how that all panned out was I got out here, got running around, climbing some rocks, climbing some mountains, doing some high altitude mountaineering and all that kind of fun stuff. Found a school and started training out here.
Cool.
Yeah, so never had to go home. Was working for a company on the North Shore. Ended up that I was missing a few of the larger jobs because I didn't have extended enough qualifications. So I ended up going back to Ontario to upgrade those said qualifications. And then when I got back from upgrading those said qualifications after an hour of my, or a year of my life, a year of my life and about $40,000 expense, found out that they didn't really have any work for me at the time because they'd let a couple guys get in ahead of me. So
oh, no.
In the interim, what I was doing was I was working as a millwright in a bunch of different sawmills.
Okay.
In and amongst the Vancouver area, all the way out as far as even Chilliwack and further. But yeah, basically what happened was I was on a millwrighting job and somebody locked out ahead of me, and the company gets billed excessively if we don't fire up on time. So
okay.
I went to run to see what was the holdup and why everything wasn't firing up. And yeah, I took a big running pickup step across the main area and stepped on a rock.
Oh no.
Yeah. So after 5.5 weeks of not even knowing it was broken, basically they told me it was sprained. After 4 x-rays, a CT scan, then finally an MRI, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, your ankle's broke.
Brutal.
Yeah, so you're gonna need a cast for about 6 weeks. After the cast, it was 7 months of rehab. After the 7 months of rehab, it was surgery because there was a bunch of bone fragments. So from them not thinking anything was wrong, it went to, oh yeah, you've torn 5 of the 7 tendons, 2 of them clean off the bone, all the connective tissue, crushed the talus, fractured the tibia, and have multiple bone fragments.
Oh, no big deal.
Yeah, right? So that was good times.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, of course, after surgery, back into a cast for 6 weeks, back into rehab for another 7 months. And essentially what happened was I was trying to teach a buddy of mine what I knew of tattooing because I kind of grew up with it.
Okay.
A lot of my best friends and whatnot that I grew up with. And I've been getting tattooed since I was 13, so a lot of my best friends own their own studios, and I'd help do everything from, you know, tune machines and fix machines to make needles and sterilize equipment and things of the sort. So I was basically showing him what it was that I knew, and he wasn't really catching on, and I kind of took to it like a duck to water. So
no way.
Yeah, it was really super strange actually.
So do you start off in the business by working on yourself first?
Ideally, that's, you know, like there are a few different methods. Obviously, the drawing portion is your first main key portion. From that, it's you know, manual manipulation, i.e. getting your hand tuned up and the strength built up to even hold the machine, if you do it correctly.
Yeah, which hopefully you will.
Yeah, well, you know, I had a few friends that were still in the industry and people that I'd met out here, and got a few pointers along the way. And essentially, I'm self-taught, so started on myself right off the bat, like a genius.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Surprisingly well.
Good.
Yeah, it was the first 2 lines. I almost had a heart attack, and then I started wiping the stencil clean off. And I called up a buddy of mine who's a tattooer on the North Shore, and I was like, Jay, I'm fucking losing my mind. I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I was like, I basically already started in. I've done 3 lines, and I'm already wiping the stencil off. And he's like, hit every line. Don't wipe it one more time. Just hit every line. Do every fucking line. And when you're all the way through it, call me back. And I was like, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So essentially it was, kind of ran through it as quick as I could because I was just terrified to death that I wouldn't be able to complete it without the stencil.
Yeah.
Called them back and kind of worked through it from there. But yeah, after that it was, 40 hours of work on my own skin and, get to the point where you can actually produce enough decent looking work to kind of tattoo your friends and then hope you don't lose all your friends when you start tattooing them.
Yeah.
Lucky for myself, I had a roommate at the time who was very happy to let me kind of mark up his skin for a while.
Cool. Nice guy.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Adam. Yeah, so everything kind of progressed from there, and it was kind of ironic because I'd had a place where I didn't really know what I was going to do or how it was going to pan out, and I'd already been off for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
I still couldn't walk. Couldn't even stand for any more than about 15 or 20 minutes at a pass. WCB was giving me a huge hassle, and yeah, so I was in a really low place, and I didn't know what the hell I was gonna do. And then a buddy of mine called me out of the blue, and he's like, "Hey, I saw this ad in the paper. This studio's looking for artists." And I, of course, like any artist, I'm never gonna be good enough. Like.
Of course.
I was like, I don't know what I have to offer, and he's like, what do you got to fucking lose, right? Like, just do it.
Yeah.
Just give them a call. What's the worst thing they can say? No.
True.
And I was like, okay, good point. So yeah, that was when I was first introduced to Dave. Met him at a coffee shop. It's the owner of Adrenaline here.
Okay.
Well, it's actually him and a bunch of people that co-own all the Adrenalines, but he's the man on the West Coast.
And now, like, you go through all that, you don't know if you're good enough. Now you're actually one of the artists that's the most popular here.
I wouldn't say that. I don't know if I'm the most popular by any means. I'm definitely the oldest guy here, and I've been around the longest, so if that counts for anything.
Of course it does. Got a bit of a reputation.
Okay, let's go with that.
You're very modest.
Well,
which is good.
It's one of those things, you know what I mean? I always thought that, if you were going to be anything, the last thing I wanted to be was a prima donna. The last thing I wanted to be was somebody who thought that they were better than, or, more important than, or whatever, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like, I was given some of the best advice in the beginning when I first started working here by a fella who actually used to be one of our body piercers, who was taught by, like, one of the greats in the industry. And he basically said, just do what you do, be who you are. People either like you or they won't.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, it stood true, and I just never wanted to lose who I was and become somebody that I wasn't and didn't feel good about, Cool. This is gonna suck, so just,
yeah. Awesome.
Apologize. Breathe. You okay?
Yeah.
Suck a little bit, yeah?
A little bit, yeah.
Gotta love those nerves trunking through the wrist, huh?
Yeah. It's not the worst pain I've ever been in, so that's a bonus.
Yeah, well, not digging for gold, just tattooing, right?
Yeah. It's nice that you give your people warnings.
Well, that's one of those things. After a while, you start to be able to read people, and you start to know which areas are more sensitive than others. And honestly, I'd rather have you more mentally prepared than jumping off the table.
Yeah.
Right?
Have you ever had that happen?
Umpteen times.
Really?
I could tell you some stories.
What's the worst one you've been through?
There's all kinds of really interesting stuff. that being said, you know, it's one of those things that depends on your idea of what you think is weird, strange, you know, odd. There's so many. Honestly, I can remember in, I can't remember, it was like my second year. This one girl, I don't know who she was or what her story was, but she came in and she had to get this tattoo, and it was so important that she got it on this day. And I was like, okay, well, it's, you know, I'm here for you. Let's do it. What do you want to do? And she wanted the letters NMD tattooed across her wrist. So I was like, okay, whatever. Didn't think anything to ask, you know, what it was or what was going on. Anyhow, the long and the short of it is, so I start tattooing this girl, and right off the bat, in the highest pitch I think I've ever heard a female voice, starts screaming at the top of her lungs, and she's tapping her feet, shaking her head back and forth, and shaking her other hand, screaming in my face while I'm trying to do this.
That makes your job easy.
Oh yeah, right on. And I literally just stopped and I looked at her and I was like, "Are you okay? Like, is everything all right? Do you need a hug? Like, what's going on?" She said, no, I'm fine. It just really hurts. Da, 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 da. So I started again, same thing, right? And she just couldn't stop this. Anyhow, the long and the short of it is I finished the tattoo, and, you know, to the best of my ability, I told her, I was like, you know, I can only do what I can do if you don't sit still, right?
Right.
Like, it is what it is. So I said to her, I was like, what's the story with the NMD? What's it mean? She says, oh, I'm trying to change my life. It stands for no more drama.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right? Like, can you even comprehend? I honestly don't even believe it myself, you know what I mean? It's such a bizarre story. You know what I mean? It's like, how is this even possible? How is this even real? How do these humans even exist? But, you know, they're out there.
You wonder how they walk without falling over sometimes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Blows my mind. Yeah, and the stories are never ending from there, you know?
You really must see it all.
And then some.
And in weird places too, right?
Yeah, I've tattooed every inch of the human body.
I think the last time we talked, you told me about a zipper you once did.
Yeah, it's that one right there.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's different.
Gemini, yeah. Stripper with a zipper.
There you go. That's one tagline people won't forget.
I think the best part of that was her husband sat the entire time. And
really?
And watched
just to make sure everything went okay?
I don't know whether it was that or whether he was just, you know, tagging along for the ride or what the deal was, you know what I mean? It was a bit of strange positioning just because of the nature of where it was, and, you know, happened to work right up the inside of her outer labia, you know what I mean? So
that would not be comfortable at all.
Well, you got to try and get as comfortable as you can. She actually said it hurt a lot less than a waxing.
Really?
Yeah. Which I could comprehend because waxing doesn't look pleasant either.
It doesn't.
On behalf of all men everywhere, thank you, ladies.
I don't know though. I think I'd take waxing over that.
Well, she said it hurt a lot less to get tattooed, so and that wasn't the first time that I've been told that.
Wow. There you go. One for the books. So, what's the most painful tattoo you've gotten?
Bottom of my foot.
And that was a Batman one, right?
Not an actual Batman. It was, you know, when Batman and Robin hit each other, the old school one back in the day when they wore like their silk tights and stuff.
Adam West for Orange.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, it was when they hit somebody with either Bam, Pow, Kerplooey, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, so I've been a fighter for a bunch of years, and I thought it was really funny because I got a Black Widow on the top of my right foot. Okay. Because I used to knock a lot of guys out with the roundhouse kick. A lot of my buddies that I trained with for years. Stu and Jay, shout out to you boys. My buddy Stu's BJJ, champ of Ontario, was there for a bit. Hopefully I didn't screw that one up there, Stu. Anyhow, he's trained with guys from all over the world and he's an exceptional fighter. We all used to travel around to competitions and stuff, and at one point they called it the kiss of death. Jay used to make fun of me because he said I always stuck my big toe in people's eye. Nice. That's how I knocked them out. Yeah. So yeah, I thought it'd be really funny if the last thing that you saw coming at you with a side kick or a spinning back kick was a big bam.
If I got kicked in the face, that's what I'd want to do.
Right?
Yeah, for
How
sure.
cool would that be?
That'd be awesome.
Let's just say I never got the pow done on the other foot.
That painful, hey?
Yeah, it's horrible.
I can imagine. I can't even get a pedicure, so...
Yeah, my buddy Josh did that for me. He's a pretty rad dude.
And you got through it without kicking him in the face?
Yeah, it was touch and go. Yeah. Honestly, it was definitely touch and go. I think I ate about 4 or 5 hot dogs that day. Just kind of, well, it was horrible because it's like, if this is your foot, everything's all pushed open and you're actually having to stretch your own toes back so that somebody can drill as deep as humanly possible and try and make it stay. Yeah,
it's not fun. You constantly have ideas for tattoos that you want on you, or are you completely covered and there's nowhere else to go?
Really, the only spot I've kind of got left is my side ribs and my chest, and I don't actually ever plan on tattooing my chest.
Yeah.
And my ass, and my girl doesn't want me to tattoo my ass.
That's
so
fair. I think that's a fair.
Apparently, she likes it just the way it is.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite type of tattoo to do for somebody?
I get asked this a lot. I just love to tattoo. Honestly, at the end of the day, I don't care what it is. I mean, I get a lot of strange requests. I get a lot of heavy detail stuff. I get a lot of everything, really. And honestly, I think at the end of the day, I just love the art of tattooing. I get into certain things a little bit more. I wouldn't say a little bit less. I'd say certain stuff on certain days just really grabs you and you kind of run with it and you really don't know why.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, it happens generally every day. It doesn't matter what it is. That you just get into this rhythm, you know what I mean? And you kind of stop thinking and you just go to this, I don't know, it's kind of like I call it going into a trance, and a lot of people that know me and that have been worked on by me all know that kind of when I stop talking, when I stop blinking, and I start tattooing to the music, to just kind of let me go. Because
so stop asking you questions and getting you to do an interview while you're in the middle of it.
Right? Just let me go to it, and it generally turns out pretty rad.
Cool. And do you have return customers that just come in and they're like, you know what, do what you want, just go for it?
I do. Those people generally, they know me well enough to know that I don't just do whatever it is that I feel like, and a lot of people they do say that, just do whatever you want, and it's like, well, just so you know, today might be the day where I'm thinking severed heads and dead babies in jars.
Yeah.
Winged vaginas with teeth, so if you're into that, I'm down.
Cool,
right?
Let's do it.
If you don't give me some direction, you can't complain if that's where my head goes.
That's
so
true.
You might not want to go taking a walk in my world. Just saying. Any direction is better than no direction.
Now, obviously a good artist will give their customer some direction. For instance, if you see something that's going to be too small and the detail is going to get lost in
recommendations, of course.
Is that normally taken well, or do you have people that are like, I don't care, do it?
There are those too. Yeah, generally speaking, for the most part, human beings have that cognitive ability to process information, and certain ones just want what they want when they want it.
Right.
After I've had my discussion with you about it, my conscience is clear.
True.
I've given you all the information. You're an adult. You can make your own choices, your own decisions, and who am I to challenge what it is that you're asking for?
And so at that point, you're like, that's it, your choice.
Sometimes I ask myself why, but at the same token, it's like you get what you want because you're the customer and I'm your employee technically at the moment. Yeah.
Is that at any time? Is there a time where you're like, okay, this part of my job sucks?
I wouldn't say sucks, because for the most part, like I said, most humans are at least receptive. There are the odd few here or there that maybe not so much, but really at that point, it's like, what do I care? Because they're dick holes anyway.
It's a good way to look at it. I am gonna go through life looking at it like that. That's awesome.
Well, really, right?
Yeah.
I try and be reasonable, and most humans are reasonable. But at the end of the day, it's like those people that want what they want, they're not reasonable, then give them what they want.
Yeah.
Because the consequences are all on them. There's got nothing to do with me, right?
Yeah. Awesome.
It's a big.
I love it.
Oh, so it doesn't fucking come on. If you don't like it, you shouldn't
Awkward. No, that's wicked. Thank you so much. I have one last question that I ask each of my guests. It's actually about your socks.
My socks?
Yes.
Cool.
I think socks tell a lot about a person.
Yeah.
And I would like to know what type of socks you wear.
Multiple different kinds, actually.
Yeah? Are they different colors?
Nope, they're all black.
Okay. And why is that?
Some of them have different, some of the technical socks for technical applications, right? So like when I'm mountaineering, I have a specific pair of socks I wear mountaineering. If I'm doing like a CrossFit or lifting, I have a different set of proper tensioning socks that hold your foot together.
It matters how comfortable your foot is.
I was raised by one of those people. It was like the only one thing in the world you don't skimp on are shoes.
Okay.
Because your entire being rides on your feet, and it's the most important part of the building is the part that touches the ground. So yeah, they're all black. They're usually either tube socks. Some of them are fitted, bobby socks, obviously in the summer. I'm not really a barefoot kind of guy unless I'm wearing flip-flops. Yeah. Even then, my wife kind of gets crazy because I'll do the whole Japanese toe slip in. Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, I love socks. Love socks.
That's awesome.
And lucky enough for me, her brother lives in Japan, so he's going to send me some of the tabby socks.
You get pretty cool socks.
Yeah, they're going to be made to specifically go in flip-flops.
That's awesome. Are they the ones they have the toes cut off?
No, they got a big toe.
Okay.
And then the rest of the other 4 toes go in a different pocket.
See, I've seen some that have the toes cut off, so it only covers like that much of your foot, which I guess keeps it sort of warm. I don't understand it.
5-finger socks too.
Do you? How do you feel about those?
Awesome.
Yeah? You don't think they feel weird?
Well, if you're wearing 5-finger toe shoes,
I guess.
if it's that way you have a sock on. Yeah, they're awesome. They're really cool because you can actually feel them kind of brush between your toes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have a foot thing.
That's okay.
I'm a weirdo.
No, I'm all about socks. I get it.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I am so excited.